the collection I'm showing is for Meet Your Maker is my monument work, and then I also have a kind of changing display where I'm getting people to pose for me on a plinth. I take a picture of them, print it out, stick it down onto brass, and I use my piercing saw and I saw it around the silhouette. So on the wall I've got a changing display of silhouette pins. Part of the like sawing out the silhouettes is referencing Victorian silhouettes where people used to have their family portraits or cameos, you know, with the in profile. So there's a kind of Victorian style of creating a portrait. So yeah, so I mean, historically, it is really important for me to, and especially as well because without the monuments, like the original monuments in Glasgow and Edinburgh, I wouldn't have had this body of jewellery. So yeah, it is important for me, and I'm quite nostalgic as a person. I like old things. I like buying old furniture and buying old clothes, and I love raking around in a junk shop. So yeah, old things are definitely important to me. I'm really inspired by Dutch design and Scandinavian design. I spent a bit of time in Denmark, and they just have a nice kind of simple, clean design ethic, which is quite appealing to me as a designer. But I suppose in terms of the monument work, I did a bit of travelling around Europe last year as well, and visited lots of kind of big capital cities which have got kind of well-known monuments, but also I like graveyards as well, and I like looking at kind of old-looking gravestones and things that have been kind of knocked over, and you know, when you look at a gravestone and it's all been kind of rubbed away. So as well as spending time in big cities, it was interesting for me to kind of go to these little rural towns around Europe and look at their kind of town steeples and their graveyards and things. So yeah, I think I'm constantly kind of immersing myself in like, you know, architecture and old things. Like, I'm quite focused like in my work, and so I know I'm going to be working in like as a jeweller in creative industries for the rest of my life really. So I mean, hopefully I'll make enough work that maybe something will be dug up one day and people will think it's worthwhile to keep it or look after it. It's the very basics of jewellery making, essentially. Like when you begin to make jewellery, it's the first thing you really do is using a piercing saw, and so yeah, people would have used saws from the very beginning. I mean, people use saws for everything, not just jewellery making. But the saw I use has got a very fine blade, which means I can get really good detail in the silhouettes and the pieces that I'm making. So no, it's a very, very basic tool. My sister is actually a fashion designer, and she makes me dresses like every year. And last year she made me a dress which kind of surpassed everything that she'd ever made before. So I'd have to say that's my favourite piece of craft, and it's something that I own and cherish. And I know it's fashion, and some people don't kind of associate fashion with craft, but it's beautifully designed and well crafted. So yeah, I have to say that. I'm really at the beginning of my career, and it's quite an exciting time. So right now I'm just trying to really make a name for myself in the kind of craft jewellery design scene in Scotland. I've just got a few exhibitions coming up. I work in a place in Glasgow called Brazen Studios, and I do a bit of teaching there. I'm doing a bit of teaching in other places, teaching night classes and things. So yeah, a lot of teaching, lots of making jewellery, lots of exhibitions. That's the plan for the future.